One of the interesting things I saw online was people saying, you got to accept that lease decay is real. Not lease decay, sorry, the 99-year lease is a real thing. The government will take it back.
It absolutely should be a real thing.
King Jin, your thoughts about, how this changes buyer insight, or whether will people avoid older flats now?
I feel like we are actually in an unprecedented situation because we don't have flats that are 70 years old. I think the oldest flats we have are perhaps in their early 60s. And so it's a bit difficult to say like, the market sentiment has really changed that much because we haven't seen flats that are 70 years old being sold on the resale market. What we do know is that at the moment, flats that are the oldest, whether in terms of the block completion date or in terms of the lease start date, these are still being traded on the resale market. And I think one of the classes is in Commonwealth Close. As far as I checked, within the last year, there was still close to about 50 transactions. So just based on what the market tells us so far, without knowing the details of VERS, there's still a demand for such flats, for older flats within the resale market.
I feel that the announcement of VERS is actually quite good because after they announced the VERS, there was actually a spike in terms of demand for older flats. So if you look at the transactions before 2017, like maybe 2016, there were about 1,500 older flats that were transacted in 2016. So for the whole year, these are the older flats, let's say, for example, 40 years and above. And if you fast forward to, let's say, for example, last year, 2024, this number actually went up to, if I'm not wrong, around 6,000. So it shows that, even when there's so much conversation about lease decay and all this, after they announced the VERS and even with not much details, we see that by and large, people are actually quite open to buying these older flats. And if you talk about in terms of pricing, I think it's also quite surprising for me when I look at maybe like, for example, those older flats, maybe 40 years and above, and they are sold at maybe higher price points. So I guess that, I think this VERS, to me, I feel that at least there is some sort of exit strategy. That means it gives an option to buyers. Let's say, for example, if you really don't want to live until the end of the lease, at least you can select for VERS, which is an alternative.